Hi guys, so welcome to our live stream. So this is our first one. I thought I'd, sort of jump on and, kind of explain a little bit about what our sort of channel's about, what's going to be coming in, time to come. So originally I started out as like, I just wanted to sort of, provide some kind of like tips for finance, teach us stuff that we don't potentially get taught in school. And you get to my age now, the age of 30, and you think, oh, if I'd have known about investments, when I was 16, when I started working full time, I'd have known that, if I was putting in so much every month, by now I'd probably would have had enough to have, put a deposit down on a house. And there's so many different things that, like, we sort of miss out on because of the lack of sort of an understanding, and also the lack of education is something that you don't get taught at all when you're that age. But of course, even when we get a bit older, sometimes we still don't know. And I know a lot of the times it's usually about your parents should be teaching you this stuff. But again, it's the same for my parents. They didn't know that about that type of stuff either. I think they come from a generation where they're taught that investments is dangerous and risky, and you stay away from it, that kind of stuff. So because of course, the corporate world are not going to want everyone investing money, are they? They're not going to want everyone becoming millionaires by the time they're like 40 or 50 years of age. So it's something you're taught to be scared of, unless you know about finance. It's a specific kind of thing that's there for people that are accountants, and people that know about investments and know about savings and that kind of stuff. But that was kind of like the original plan, really. It was just to sort of kind of provide that education. That's what the essentially the channel was for originally. So obviously, sorry guys, just adjusting my camera there. So with that being said, though, I also then kind of had a bit of an epiphany moment, because originally I was only going to be repurposing content, clips from interviews with financial experts, that kind of thing. But then I was doing the same for TikTok. I had a TikTok account. I was basically posting the same videos on there. But then TikTok got to a point where they kind of weren't allowing the repurposed content anymore. It was not getting pushed to people's For You pages and stuff anymore, because it was AI generated, or it was repurposed from other stuff, really. And TikTok obviously prefer the user generated content. So I thought, if I had to it kind of forced me to come on camera, really, and start talking to you guys live through the camera. And it's kind of been a big kind of confidence boost for myself, and now I can't get off it. I'm talking to you guys all the time now. And it was just something that was a bit of a kind of a, if I wanted to connect with people, and I had to overcome that barrier of being able to speak on live on video and speak to you guys in a personal kind of level. I was always very much an introvert, so especially growing up, I never used to really go out. I used to stay in all the time. I was never really a confident person, coming from my kind of background, being younger and stuff, living in poverty. I had quite a bad sort of childhood as well. And to be able to overcome all that and be where I am now is something that it's just, I would just want to share my journey, really. And then sort of provide you guys with education, or the tools that you guys need in order to sort of kind of help you boost yours, really. Sorry guys, my puppy is deciding to now start playing with a toy, and as you can hear, bashing stuff around just as I'm about to do a live video, which is absolutely classic. Hey, no. Sorry about that, guys. But no, and that's so I kind of come up with the idea, really. And I was seeing a lot of people, like I work with people, like I still work full time. I'm in a full time job, but I'm kind of working on my own kind of thing on the side. I'm starting up my own business, which is called Success Hub HQ, which is, even speaking to some people at my current workplace, and even over the years in the places I've worked, and I've worked in so many different industries, so many different types of people, and been under so many different leaders, managers, learned their kind of way of managing. And my dream has just always been to do my own thing, build my own thing, work for myself. I never wanted to be in the corporate world 9 to 5. I want to get out of it. I want to escape it. I don't want to have to rely on it anymore. Um, I think it's because I'm the type of person that likes to question things. I don't like to sort of just sit there and do as I'm told. I'll always sort of be like, if I don't agree with something, I'll come forward and I'll say something, Um, and it's kind of, I would say in the corporate world, it's kind of, maybe kind of, hampered my chances of getting promotions and stuff like that, because I'm not just going to be a yes man and just kind of cower down. And, there's managers that sort of like to, you know, oh, because we're managers, we have that title. It means that we're right about everything and what we say goes, and it's about their way or the highway. But, for me, a great leader is someone who, um, can bring people up. It's about training someone who can be just as good as a leader or manager as you. And I think that's what leadership is about. It's about, being able to help people develop into, improving their confidence, being to be able to step into areas they're uncomfortable with and step out of the comfort zone and just absolutely smash it. I think for me, in terms of management, it's about kind of, and the management's changed, because, you've got mental health, which is something that's big now. People are now looking more for people that are a bit more of a pillar that they can sort of rely on. They like to know that if they need help or they want to talk about a specific situation that's personal to them, they might not have friends that they can talk to. No one wants to talk to your family when you're going through tough times, because you're scared of being judged and you don't want to sort of, put that burden onto them, because of course your family are just going to worry about you even more than they may already do. So it's always best to sort of, you don't really want to talk to them about it because, for them specific reasons. So it's always nice to have someone else that are a complete stranger you can speak to. Obviously there's therapy, but if you're on the NHS now, you're waiting months and months before you can even see someone, and by then it's too late. Obviously you've got the Samaritans, you've got different sort of charities that you can, kind of speak to and stuff, which is definitely helpful. Thank God for those services, because if not, I think we'd be pretty knackered as a society, to be honest. But I think with all that being said, I personally think the corporate world, your companies should be doing a lot more. I think there should be a internal kind of, therapy, or something that someone you can go to speak to. And sometimes people can or like to go to their manager. They like to think that they could go to their manager about situations, but a lot of the time you can't, and that's the problem. I think it's something that's missing quite a lot with managers in the corporate world, is where they're not really trained to sort of deal with people with empathy. They're not really good at sort of speaking with people, or sort of listening to people and sort of helping them then sort of overcome challenges. I feel it's not something that's trained, and I feel like a lot of managers in the corporate world, people will probably disagree with me on this, but they kind of get them positions because they're either in the right place at the right time, or it's because they're quite cushy with the people that are higher than them. They've done stuff for those people they shouldn't have done because it wasn't part of their job role, or they've kind of pushed their way up there, or just being the loudest in the room. That obviously helps as well. But I could never sort of, do that, because it was a situation of, I'm not going to sit here and throw my colleagues under the bus, or, so I could get ahead, or, I'm not going to sort of brown nose my managers and do everything they want me to do just because I want a promotion. No, I'm not about that. And I think that's because of my entrepreneurial sort of mindset. I'm thinking, I've always had a full-time job because it pays the bills and it's a secure income. That's essentially the way I see it, and that's, I think, how everyone should see it. There's no such thing as promotions now. I'll tell you that now for a fact. The best way to get a pay rise now is to move to a different job and basically say you're on this particular wage and you want that or more. That's generally the only way to get paid more nowadays. Another thing is the fact that companies will put in your contract that they'll put your money up, and they'll sort of match it with inflation, but 9 times out of 10, it just doesn't match inflation at all. And the other trouble is that they do that, and then they'll have your call with you or a meeting with you, and then make out as if like they've done it because it's due to performance or anything like that. It's like, no, it's not. It's in the contract. It's you have to do it because it's in the contract. And it's just their way of trying to sort of make you feel good and make you feel like they're doing something for you, so that you kind of, so it's a bit of a motivational thing. But if you've worked in full-time company, if you've worked in a full-time job for as long as I have, and the companies I've worked for, you've been around the block, you know how it all works. You don't fall for that. And but unfortunately there are people that do, and I think that's what we're about. I'm very much a person of, I want to escape 9 to 5. I want to sort of go and make my own money. I want to, make my own business my own, that I can sort of say, right, I can now, rely on this income full time, and I don't have to work for anyone else anymore. And I think it's a scary thing, like, that a lot of people are scared of it. There's a massive, massive fear of it, and that's what I'm here to change. It's not as hard as people think. It's quite easy to get into if you've got an idea. And I feel like most people do. I do not believe that every person in the world is not thinking about some way that they can work for themselves, or thinking about it at some point. Thinking of, oh, what if I did this? What could happen? Or there's always that, what if? And it's always that case of, what if I took those steps? What if I took that opportunity? What if I, quit my job and then just throw myself into this? It's possible. And it's kind of one of those situations where it's scary, but you have to think of the future. You have to think of what you will achieve from that, and that will be, you'll achieve from that. You'll achieve, like, kind of personal development. You'll feel absolutely liberated because you've managed to sort of, even if you try something and you fail, you've still tried to get out your comfort zone, and you've still tried to do something about it. You've not just sat there being comfortable in your 9 to 5 and just sort of and just being sat there and kind of, I can't really be bothered to do that. It's hard work. I'd rather just stick with what I'm doing. And it's not only that. I know better than anyone else, your full-time role is very, very stressful, especially when busy times in the year. So much is relying on you. It can be very stressful. Because companies will rely on you fully to get their job done. You're filling their pockets. If it wasn't for you, they're going to be screwed. So they try and put as much onto you as possible, increasing KPI targets every year, or expecting this from you, expecting that, and it is scary. The way that as kind of people in the corporate world are treated at the moment is terrible. In most industries it's all the same. I've worked full time since I was 16. And I basically got in the habit at one point. I basically used to change my job every 2 years, because I never got pay rises and stuff. So in my mind, I was like, the only way I'm going to get more money is by leaving jobs. So every 2 years I would basically leave. And that was my way of getting the pay rises I have over the years, is just by leaving the job. And obviously you get to a point where you get a bit fed up of doing it, because you'd like to just sort of stay somewhere, stay settled. But it's the only way to get money, really, and I'm sick of that. I'm fed up of all that. I just want to get out and sort of do my own thing, get out of that, work from where I want to work. I don't want to be told when I can and can't go on holiday. But it's liberating. And all the things I've tried, like since I was probably about 18, I've always had a side hustle. And I've tried so many different things. There's been, I tried to run my own record label, tried drop shipping, I've tried Faceless YouTube channel. I've tried it all. Basically, I've give everything a go. I've done the courses on it, then I've applied what I've learned in the courses, and I have seen success in a fair few things, to be honest. The biggest challenge being, of course, the record label. It was probably the biggest. It took me a long time to learn about that as well. It was crazy. But again, the amount I learned from that, not just about the music industry, but the music artists themselves, why they write the music they do, where it comes from. A lot of music artists, you find out, have probably had quite bad upbringings, so similar to what I did. So you hear that, and you hear that pain in their music a lot of the time. And to be honest, it's just, even just like being behind the scenes when an artist is doing their thing, being in the studio and they're there, like, sort of, writing the lyrics down, and you're just there sitting thinking, how are you coming up with that? Like, it's mind-boggling, it really is. But these people are talented. They're there for a reason. So you got to take your hats off to them, really, for kind of putting themselves out there and achieving that. And that's kind of what we want to kind of provide with Success Hub HQ. It's a website where we're basically going to be offering courses. We're going to be offering resources. We're going to be offering even the products that you guys can sell to get started, because at the moment, the biggest problem I find is that a lot of people that have been successful in drop shipping, faceless YouTube channels, and just been successful in general, getting their side hustle into a business or starting their own business, they come out and they say, one of the things I always stick by is that when you're on a high, you've achieved the stuff you want to achieve, you then have to give back to the community. You then have to sort of, you can get this success, but then once you've got that, you then have to give back to the community, and you have to try and bring other people up with you. And that's the one thing that I want to do. It's that thing of like, I want to build a community where we're all kind of entrepreneurs. We've all got this sense of, we want to get out of our 9 to 5s. We want to sort of start a side hustle, want to start working on this, that, and the other, and we can all just sort of do it together. But with the website that I'm, sort of working with, and the partner I managed to partner with to get this, get this thing up and running, it's insane. Like an example is, someone that wants to sell digital art images on, Etsy, or start their own kind of digital arts, or even do print on demand. You can do print on demand with these images. We've basically created a bundle which contains about 10,000 images for about 8 to 10 different niches, and there's about 600 images in each folder. And we've just sort of bundled it all together as a bundle. So anyone that's looking to do digital art, they can just get this bundle from us, and then you can literally just start up your business from there. We'll run you through how to set up your Etsy store. We'll run you through so many different things, and that's kind of what we want to do. We don't want this situation where, like, these people who have seen success, they'll say, oh yeah, we'll teach you how to do it. Then you get this like email, that you get into this sales funnel situation where you'll send your email address, the access to our like top 3 tips, whatever. You sign up, and then the course, to actually do the course, it's going to cost you like, £500 to £1,000 to actually learn what they know. And of course it's understandable, these people don't obviously want to share all that knowledge, but like for me, I think it's something that really frustrated me. I probably could have seen a more success than I did if these courses were cheaper, because in my mind, it was like, I just don't really want to pay that amount of money for potentially something that's going to make that success, and I'd seen success without the courses. I literally just used Udemy, I used LinkedIn Learning, just picked up things from that, and I was applying that, and I was still getting places with that. So I think one of the things I'd probably say is, with our sort of website, is they're not going to be free courses, obviously, but they're going to be a hell of a lot more affordable, and it's going to be there's going to be courses in there that are just as valuable as these people that are out there, finding success in these different niches and industries. We're going to have sort of, support, live chat or some kind of support on the website. We're still in the launching process yet, so we still haven't sort of fully developed everything that we want to add in, but there'll even be maybe potentially a live chat support. So if you are struggling, say if you download our image package and you need a bit of, sort of support, then you can quickly just jump back to the website, log on to a live chat, and we can sort of help you there. And then even happily do, Zoom sessions with people on your PC to sort of help you get things set up or run you through, different things. I think with the courses that we sell, we would potentially sell some kind of like support, kind of like a certain amount of time support with that to sort of help you guys get you off the ground. I think that's probably something that we'll also add as well, which I personally think will be massively valuable to you guys. And we're also going to be looking at, potentially adding, maybe working with some kind of, instructors or, people that are educated in certain areas that are willing to sort of, put some videos together for us. We could put it into a course absolutely anything, anything you can think of. We're literally going to be trying to provide the instructions and the guides for you guys to actually sort of just take it away and be able to be in a position where you can start it up from yourself, even when you don't know anything about business at all. And you can just sort of take that and then just be like, okay, I'm going to give this a go now. And and then after that point, after the support term's over, it's just on you. You have to put the work in. You have to make sure you're staying consistent. But it's a big wide world out there. The opportunities out there now are just insane. You can learn about anything. There's a misconception in the industry at the moment, where people think, oh, you have to be like I've had a few friends over years who, will sort of say to me things like, oh, they'll be good at something, and I'll be like, why don't you try and do, make something out of it, turn it into a business or even freelancing or something like that. And it's just, yeah, it's just kind of, oh, yeah, but then they say the same thing. You need to learn about accounting, you need to learn about marketing, sales, all this, that, and the other. It's not none. You don't need to learn any of that. You it's kind of like it's like a staircase. You just basically get on with it. Just throw yourself into it. There's courses everywhere online. You don't need, because the persona is, you need a degree or you need a qualified professional certificate in that specific area, like accounting or marketing, sales, in order for you to know it enough to actually do it. It's nonsense. You don't at all. There's instructors that have basically retired and they're on websites like udemy.com. They're on LinkedIn Learning, and these guys are professionals or professors in those areas. They've retired and thought, I can probably do some extra income, and then they've put their knowledge into a course form. So you've got all that information there. You don't need to go to university or college to gain a qualification over time in order to succeed in that sort of area. You don't need to do that. You can start a business and then just get on with it. Whenever I've done something, when I first started out, I knew nothing about any of that myself, but I thought, I'll dive in, I'll get on with it, and and it's like a staircase. You learn each step one at a time, and you'll eventually just keep building this bank of knowledge about different things. And like tax, accounting, marketing, it's all overcomplicated. Look, people overcomplicate it and try and scare you all the time, and it's a lot easier. It's a hell of a lot easier than you think. But the best thing to do is just to take action. Get yourself out there. But I know that's the hardest thing to do. That's the first step, but it's also the hardest because it's stepping out your comfort zone. It's the unknown. It's that leap of faith you have to take in order to sort of push yourself into it. But that's what we're here for. That's what our website will be providing. We'll be providing the courses, the articles. We'll even be providing the products that you can actually go on to sell yourself, and actually make a business out of it. Like, for example, the 1,000 images that we created bundle. You can literally go off and just download them images, take them images, and basically do whatever you want with them. You can make a business out of it, or you can just use them for personal use. It doesn't matter, but I think our idea is that you guys will hopefully sort of take these things on and at least try and make a side hustle out of it. Get an Etsy store on the go. I did digital art images myself a few months ago. It was about a year ago now, actually, before we moved down to Gloucester, and I was seeing good results with it. To be honest, it was fairly easy. I was using a site called Midjourney, and I was just basically creating images, coming up with the ideas myself. I was basically researching what was selling at that particular moment in time, and then I was basically making an image, whacking it on straight away. And then when you do that, you basically sort of blend in with the trends, and then people will buy, that stuff. There is no such thing as, there is no market or side hustle or business that's oversaturated, because there's so many people that will start it, they'll see a bit of success, they'll stop it after a few months, and then they're gone. There'll be people that will start it, see success, and they'll carry it on through, and they'll scale it, and they'll get better and better, and then they're the guys that are the high competitors. But in all, I'd say 80% of the time, probably even 90% if I'm honest, 90% of people start these things and then they give up within the first month or two because they're not seeing results straight away. So there's these particular sort of areas they're just nowhere near oversaturated. If you think about the population of the world, and you can have one product, and even if you were to sell that one product to say 20 people, you're still going to be making a good amount of money. So obviously you have to take into consideration, if you want to pay for ads to help get your sort of stuff out there, if you want to sort of pay for promote videos on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and stuff like that. Obviously, it becomes revenue, and you obviously want to break even. But it is a situation of, with business, you have to spend money to earn money, but you have to spend it wisely. Don't sort of. So, for example, if you wanted to do a TikTok account similar to what we're going to be doing to try and raise awareness for our website, I've been posting videos. Some have done well, some have done absolute rubbish. So a good example, a good strategy for that would be, if I want to pay for ads or promote my videos on TikTok, I will prioritize the ones that have done well. So the ones that have got the most views, the most likes, the most comments, and the ones that are getting people interacting with it. I wouldn't promote the ones with no views, because people are just obviously not interested in that, or TikTok are not pushing that to their For You algorithm because it's just not good enough. So they're the ones we need to ignore. Because a lot of people will think, oh well, I've got this video here and it's only had 2 views, I'm going to pay to promote it just so I can get the views up, because that's just a dopamine hit. Then you're just doing that for stupid reasons. You have to be doing it to raise awareness, and you need good content. That's the key in that situation. So that's a good example of spending your money wisely when you first start in a business. Don't go out there sort of going absolute bonkers with because you'll be seeing such a loss in your money that you'll get to a point where you're like, oh well, this business venture's all it's doing is cost me money. I don't want to do it anymore, it's costing too much. But it's just because you're not spending it wisely. That's the issue. The other sort of thing I would say is, with our sort of website, is that we will be creating a kind of plans around that. So templates, business templates for accounting and all that kind of stuff, because I know that's probably the hardest thing to sort of learn when you are coming into it. But that's what we want to do. That's kind of, I just wanted to give you guys like a an overview of what we're going to be doing, and our sort of plan for the future. Our website, we hope it will be ready to be sort of open the beginning of February. But we'll keep you guys posted with all that. But hopefully at some point we can create a nice community. I think we'll probably set up a Discord server as well, for the support purposes. So if there's people that need help with certain things, we can all just sort of speak with each other in the Discord server and help each other out, and because we'll all learn, alongside one another. We'll all try the same things. We'll all try and make a success out of different stuff. We've just got to give it a good go, really, give it a good push. But yeah, that's kind of it for me today. I'll probably do a live video again some point in the week. I'll keep uploading, sort of regular videos up to this anyway, shorts of different sort of, advice, quick tips, advice and stuff like that. Of course, if you guys have got any questions, or, you want to know anything else about, what we're going to be doing, drop a comment, or, contact us directly, whichever kind of suits you, really. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys.